Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome. Sorry for that delay there. SpaceX had a delay. Their original time was 8:26. It was moved back to 8:39, but we look like we're a go at 8:39. It's progressing right along right now. So we'll do our normal. We'll go through the rocket design, some facts and figures, get over to the information about tonight's launch, and then we will go. Couple notable things. This one looks extra toasty. It is the 16th flight for this booster tonight. Not a record, but it is still quite a few flights for one single booster. So we will say hello to everybody and we'll get right into it. Ghostry, hello. Hey, Sked. I sent you an email back. I don't know if you got it, but I sent it back. So, yep, slight delay. So, I'm always glad when I make it in time for the intro. I think it's my best intro. Like, I care about this one. So, not that I don't care about the other ones, but I passionate about this one. So, what's up, Ghost? Hey, Linda. You put too many A's in there, bud. Hey, no worries. I hope your appointment went well. Do I get to watch some today, boss? Sped up to like 2x. Maybe. Will the booster explode? Probably not. Probably not. So, back over here at SpaceX, we are at 262 launches, 220 landings, and 195 on the reflights. We're going to be using our traditional Falcon 9 rocket, standard configuration. It will be landing tonight on the drone ship. Just read the instructions. This mission has previously supported GPS 3, Space Vehicle 4, GPS 3, Space Vehicle 5, Inspiration 4, which was a privately funded. I'm really loud because my steel's not on because I had an update. Let me fix that. I apologize. I had a Windows update, so that's always fun. Yeah, that should be a little bit better. So, less mouse clicks. All right. So, Inspiration 4 was an interesting. It was 4 people that basically wrote essays, or you could donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and get entered to win a trip on a Falcon 9 rocket into space. Real space, not Bezos space. I did not win. Still pretty salty about that, but maybe one day. AX1, Nilesat 301, OneWeb Launch 17, ArabSat BDR 8, 8 Starlink missions. And again, this will land on drone ship. Just read the instructions out in the Atlantic Ocean. So, again, we have a pretty normal launch here. There's your stats. We've been through them a couple times. We'll have those Falcon 9 Merlin 1 engines. Those pretty boys right there. So we have a total of 9. That's why it's called a Falcon 9. And thrust at sea level for this specific rocket is just over 1.7 million pounds. So pretty good lift on this rocket. Checking out to see. SpaceX has went live yet? Oh, that's cool. Less than 30 minutes. Okay, so they're going to go live in 6 minutes. Perfect timing. This was really cool. I wanted to share it with you guys because I think it's awesome. And then we'll go back to the specs. So, if you're ever going to fly commercial on a Dragon, this is what it would look like. Pretty incredible.
we have these same procedures on our iPad. They look the same.
And whatever that cosmonaut's saying is in Russian, and my lessons haven't taken me that far yet, so no idea what he's doing or what he's saying. One day. They destacked Starship today, kind of out of the blue. They're still waiting on the FAA for approval. But they destacked Starship 25 from Booster 9. Kind of odd, but apparently it's going to be a little bit longer than we thought on the Starship testing. Here's our carbon inner stage and our second stage with that one vacuum engine. And that one vacuum engine produces 220,000 pound-feet of thrust. So again, you don't need as many engines because your payload's obviously a third of the size or less. It also you need bigger engine bells because the flame spreads out a little bit more, and it takes a little bit more to get the thrust, a little bit more area to get the thrust that you need. So that's what's going on with that. So now we'll go over to, and again, this is just going to be, I did say thrust. This is going to be just the standard countdown. So we already have go for propellant load. We already started loading RP1 and liquid oxygen on the first stage. We already started loading second stage LOX. And we should be right around this Falcon 9 begins engine chill. Again, it's to not shock the materials. Florida's warm. This fluid's really, really cold. Obviously, when you have an explosion and you have thrust coming out of a rocket engine, it's very warm. So you want to thermally condition that rocket engine, one, so it doesn't burn up, and two, so it doesn't freeze and break. It's a very delicate balance between thermal cycles to make sure that your engine is up to the task. So we'll pick it up and we'll see the normal stuff. The command flight computer begins pre-launch checks, propellant tank pressurization. SpaceX launch director verifies go for launch. Engine control command ignition sequence start. And a liftoff of Falcon 9. We're coming a little bit flatter, so SCAD, this should be a really cool one. 45th Space Wing says there's a little bit of weather to be concerned about. There's only a 30% chance of failure, or a 30% chance of scrub, which is not bad. So hopefully it's not something we'll have to contend with weather. But you said it's beautiful out in Florida, so I would anticipate that this one's going to be really, really cool. So this is 6-23, if I remember correctly. And so this will be the part of the constellation. These will be the V2s, so the miniaturized Starlink satellites. So, but everything looks like it's going great so far on the back end. If there is, for example, something that does delay this, there are several backup opportunities Wednesday and Thursday. So should go up in the next couple days. And NASA's not throwing anything up, so. I think that's closer to 50. But Oz, I had to turn off your stream, buddy. That was infuriating, that article you were reading. So sorry. I got like halfway through it, but then I was like, this isn't good. This isn't good. But yeah, I truly commend you for making it through it, because that one was tough. The Joe pregnancy, and if you haven't checked it out, go check out Oz's video. But fear discretion, because it will make you emotional. I wanted to throw things. Yes, that's exactly what it means. So we're going to get a little bit flatter of a trajectory, but we'll have the same thing that we've seen before. We'll have ascent, stage separation, We'll do that flip maneuver so it can reorient. There'll be fairings up. The payload will separate at a later time, and then we'll see it land on. Just read the instructions. Timeline's not much different. There's about a second different. Seconds worth of difference between this trajectory and the traditional trajectory. But nothing crazy. So we have max Q at 112. At 224, we have MECO, or the main engine cutoff. MECO is generally at 225, so about a second sooner. And that's just because of that flat trajectory. 234, we have SES1, or second engine start. In between, we have that first and second stage separation. Fairing is 305, and they're going to try and collect that, fish that out of the Atlantic Ocean. And then we'll start seeing this come back down. We will not see the payload deploy because that is an hour and 5 minutes into flight. It's not a lighter payload. They're probably going to use more. If I had to guess, I think they're probably going to use more thrust or a lighter fuel load, because they go a little heavy on the fuel for the sake of if something doesn't operate correctly. But we've seen them; they're so damn picture perfect. They can run it to empty and be just fine at this point. So it's not something they. Oh, I'm talking right by it. It's not something they do every time, but that's probably the plan.
Stage 2 lock float is complete.
So we're catching up a little bit later than the 5 minutes that SpaceX goes, but I got talking, so haven't heard from her. I think she's. Haven't heard from who? I missed something. Anyways,
Ground gas closeouts.
so now it's trying to close that gas line so that there's no explosions, no flame back in. Again, that's a perfectly normal puffy stuff. That is the vent, so that they can continue to pressurize the tanks. Falcon will go into startup, and we'll see that tank pressurization beginning here in about 9 seconds.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Neat. Oh, no, you're good. So Falcon 9's in startup, 7 seconds from our go, no go.
Go for launch.
And we are go for launch. So we will see a flight here momentarily. Scad seeing it already, probably. We're usually about a minute behind based on latency. Something that Starlink, ironically, is trying to bring down. So T-minus 30. We're still looking good. Go SpaceX, go Falcon 9.
15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Ooh, that's pretty. I love night launches.
Switching down range. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
I love night launches. So we're about to come up on that. Oh, hear that roar of those engines. Those Merlin engines. Every time. Every time. So we're coming up on max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressures on the vehicle. So that's the peak speeds mixed with the most atmosphere that it's going to go through at those peak speeds.
Telemetry.
So if anything's ever going to happen to the rocket, it would be right here at max Q or very, very close to it. They actually, like we know, they throttle down. So they do full throttle to get off the ground for that first 10 kilometers. Then they usually throttle down for about a kilometer.
Max
Uh,
2.
And then as soon as they punch through max Q, you can see those engines just light all the way back up full power, and we are go all the way. So every time, Digger. Every time I do. What's up, Jacob? How you doing, buddy?
MVAC chill has started.
So they're thermally cycling that vacuum optimized engine or MVAC engine. Same thing they do with the other ones on the ground, but don't want to do it as soon for the one that's in space. So. And we'll start seeing when they encounter less and less atmosphere, because again, you see that plume, that flame start fanning out, and that's because it's encountering less pressure from the atmosphere. You can start seeing kind of those webs in between. That's that plume, and now it's much more pronounced from the start, and going to get more dramatic as we punch through more atmosphere at a faster rate. So,
Main engine cut off.
and we have good MECO
Stage separation confirmed.
and good stage sep.
MVAC ignition.
And good MVAC. You see that little plastic thing? So that's part of the system that holds it in place through the launch. It also makes it so that, because those are fairly brittle, actually, those engines. It kind of just holds everything together so it can't shake itself apart and cause any cracks or damage.
Fairing separation confirmed.
For like the millionth time, Scad said I could dox her. It depends, but it's usually around. They usually like to keep it around 3. Acceleration 3. It can be a little bit more with a payload that's not sensitive, like a Starlink. But when you're talking about humans, you want to keep that on the lower end. 2.6 to 3 is usually a good range to be in, to be safe. I know I am. I don't do it intentionally. It's out of love. All right, so that is coasting. Again, love the telemetry data from SpaceX. We're at just over 10,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of 142 kilometers. At first stage, the interesting part will be watching that speed. So the speed's going to increase just a little bit. We might see the altitude bump up. Nope, we missed the altitude bump up. Usually gets to 115, 116, and then it starts coming back down. So it's in the middle of that flip. Now it's returning to Earth. We'll see the speed pick up, and then we'll get the entry burn mixed with the atmosphere. And then again, as our atmosphere gets thicker and heavier, you'll start seeing that speed bleed off very, very quickly. So that's what to look for on a nominal landing, is that slight increase of speed, and then we see it drop right off. So we're about a minute and a half from entry burn. Beautiful launch so far. We're still going to pick up speed until that entry burn. but it's a nominal increase in speed based on, or as opposed to the thrust that we went through. So
Stage 1, FTS has saved.
all right, so
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
So they turn off the flight termination system, and the flight termination system is if it gets off track, they can blow up the rocket at a high enough altitude where it doesn't have to interfere with or cause any harm to anybody on the ground.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And shutdown.
Stage 2, FTS has saved.
Both
Again,
vehicles remain on nominal trajectory.
We're going to see just a slight bump in speed again, and then we'll see it start coming down. That's when it's interfering and interacting with our atmosphere. So there's the peak, 4954, and now we're going to start seeing it bleed off. And there's that bleed off, and it goes fast once it starts encountering atmosphere. Our atmosphere is incredibly thick. And loss of signal. It's pretty common. A lot going on. That's not good.
Stage
Oh.
1 transonic.
Okay, we picked up telemetry. It's not good when they lose telemetry. We just had a telemetry freeze, which always makes you take a deep breath. Huh.
Stage 2, nominal trajectory.
Still nominal.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And we see those big titanium grid fins. They're used to steer the air, to steer the rocket back down to
Stage 2,
Earth
terminal guidance.
safely. And we should see
Landing
a
lead
good
deploy.
touchdown. And beautiful touchdown of the first stage. On
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
just read the instructions. So there's going to be our trajectory, like I said, a little bit flatter. And this was 623. This was 22 version
shut
2 Starlink satellites to help improve internet speeds across the globe in remote locations. Now I sound like I'm advertising
Nominal
for
orbit
them.
insertion.
So we got a good call out for nominal orbital insertion. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Smooth as silk once again. Damn, they do a good job. So, again, we won't see anything for about an hour. There'll be several different firings of the second engine. There'll be SECO 1, then there'll be SES 2, SECO 2, at various times throughout the flight. And that's to circularize the orbit and get it into the place where they want it. After that, they'll deploy the payload, and that's all she wrote. So, another great flight by Starlink and SpaceX. They really are the best on the block. There's no question about that. So that's going to be it for that specific show. And so now the normal show, because it just worked out that way. We're going to go over and take a look at what is currently happening with Israel. I am going to do it on a second stream just because it seems to work better with ScrewTube and their algo. So I'm going to shuffle everybody over. Do I have any mods that could potentially drop my link just in case? In case people don't get sent over? When was the last actual failed mission? That's a good question. I can look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. How long it's been. They're counting Starship, which I don't feel like you can count. Let's see. It has not failed since June 28, 2010. It was the 19th mission of the Falcon 9. So it has been 13 years since they failed a mission. Oh, yeah, I gotta. So it's been a while. I know that they have chosen not to save some boosters, but true failure, it was their 18th mission 13 years ago. So it's a pretty good track record for me. I think they've proven themselves time and time again. I think they do great at what they do. Hang on, I'm trying to. Perfect. So yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it would have been 2010, but that's what it says. So long time ago. I haven't seen anything terrible in a really long time. Like I said, it's not fair that you add on Starship because that's a developmental project, but not even one of those has failed recently. So, I mean, since the last time one flew, but we'll give them that. So, like I said, that is going to be it for me on this side of things. I'm gonna shuffle y'all over. If that doesn't work, the link is in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys on the other side.